Today, I'm flying with Singapore Airlines, which has the best regional fleet in my book. In the last video, we have explored their 787-10. Well, today, I'm flying in the A350-900 with the medium hull configuration to show you why this is the best of its class and what's different from the 787. Singapore Airlines is so consistent with their product. It's my favorite airline out there. It may not be the most flamboyant or the shiniest, but it's certainly the best overall to me. Today's journey is part of a larger trip that starts from Bali to Singapore in the 787 and onwards to Manila with the A350, which is our flight today. We are starting our day from Singapore Changi Airport Terminal 3 and slowly moving our way to the business class lounge. After spending $50 million, Singapore Airlines finally reopened and renovated all of its lounges in Singapore Changi Airport Terminal 3 in mid-2022. Pertaining to this flight we are about to get on, I was granted access to the business class lounge as part of the larger Silvercrest Lounge complex. To get a closer look at the lounges, I have a separate playlist for all three lounges in this complex, as well as the KrisFlyer Star Alliance Gold Elite Lounge. Feel free to check them out. The business class lounge is great. Everything is so new and so good. If you're transiting in Singapore, you're gonna have a blast here. This is our plane today, the Airbus A350-900. Just look at its curvature. Such a good-looking machine. Upon boarding, I find the ever so familiar business class cabin. Let's take a look at the seat map. This A350-900 with the medium hull configuration has two cabins. The larger one in front has 7 rows of 4s in a 1-2-1 layout, while the smaller cabin behind has 3 rows of 4s. If you are looking for the bulkhead seats, then take note, they are not all the same. If you are looking for this, then it's located in a small cabin behind. Otherwise, the one in front looks like this, which doesn't have that extra surface for infants. However, if you can secure a bulkhead seat, like most people in the cabin, the window seat is a tad more private, but also harder to get in and out of. It's just a few hours anyway, so you decide what suits you best. The aisle seats are pretty decent too. I took it in the previous flight and it was fine. Now, many people do prefer to be in the smaller cabin to feel more private and less busy. To me, it doesn't make much of a difference, unless you are aiming at that baby seat, I mean the bulkhead seats. Let's do a tour of my seat, 15K. Now, because the A350 has a wider cabin, the seats actually have more space, as evident from the gap seen here. The part that surrounds the seat has a very soft finish to it. And of course, the reading light can also be found here. Whoops, someone just brought me a drink. Beside the seat is this storage space which you can find the power outlets, USBs, headphone, and a menu. It also has a door to close this off. Above the armrest is the IFE remote control, which is different than the one seen in the 787s, which looks like a PSP. Above it is a panel of various switches, like seating positions and a call button. The armrest can also be raised or lowered. On the other side as well with this super narrow one. And that's to hang your jacket or whatever you want to show to other people. Sadly, there is no individual air ventilation. I guess SQ is learning from those European carriers. The tray table can be pulled out like that for some snacks and a drink. For a full meal, it's best to flip it open like that and pulling it closer to you. The seat comes with a 3-point seatbelt system, pretty common nowadays in new business class seats. SQ has a gorgeous safety video, super cinematic. Give it a watch next time when you are on board. With that, it's time for the pushback and takeoff. Now let's check out their menu. I do have to say that SQ consistently has great food on board when the flight is departing from Singapore, but there has been complaints regarding the catering when the flight is departing from foreign cities. So set your expectation right when flying into Singapore, but rest assured that your food is gonna be exceptional when flying out of Singapore. For the starter, I got the prawn Caesar salad that comes with your choice of bakery. And as for my main course, I have preemptively selected my meal days prior to my flight, a service that you can utilize in your reservation, named Book the Cook, and I got the lobster thermidor. It is absolutely my favorite dish from Singapore Airlines. It tastes just heavenly. As for the dessert, I got the vanilla chocolate cake. God, that was delicious. Asian approved. After that delightful meal, I gotta lie down just a little. Let's change this seat into the bed mode. The footrest is a little narrow, but for only a few hours, it's perfectly fine. Not too shabby for a regional flight, eh? FYI, Turkish Airlines uses the same seat for their long-haul flights. That would be a little of a stretch for me. Now, as we are approaching Manila, let me share with you my thoughts on this flight and also how I got this flight for only $20. Yes, that's all I paid, but more on that later. So Singapore Airlines uses its 787-10s and the A350s for their high-density regional routes. Right off the back, you can think of places like Bangkok, Bali, Saigon, Manila, etc. Despite not having much competition within the premium market, Singapore Airlines still provides top-notch soft and hard products. Food and service were excellent, and the seats are simply the best when it comes to regional fleets in a consistent basis. Tell me which other airline that has a consistent regional fleet that is better than Singapore Airlines. I simply can't think of any. There are airlines that use long-haul products for regional routes occasionally, but not in a regular, predetermined basis. Turkish Airlines uses the same seat as their flagship long-haul product, and they are one of the better airlines around. Singapore Airlines has made a fantastic decision to use these seats in their main regional flights. It is simply the best. As to how I got this flight for paying only $20, I redeemed 21,500 KrisFlyer miles to book these 2 flights from Bali to Singapore and almost to Manila. You would still use the same amount of points to book just one of these 2 flights, but it doesn't cost more to book a connecting flight. The KrisFlyer program by Singapore Airlines has some amazing sweet spots, especially when one of the 2 flights is within Southeast Asia, and there is minimal fuel surcharge when redeeming Singapore Airlines' own flights. This is where I paid the $20. Alternatively, you can also use Aeroplan Miles by Air Canada, possibly every pro traveler's favorite program to redeem flights. So if you would like to fly business class with Singapore Airlines, I would mainly look into these 2 programs. And with that, I'm gonna give you a hint of what my next flight is. Do you see it? Yep, it's gonna be great. There's also gonna be a twist to it, so make sure to stay tuned for the next video to find out what happened.